For listeners of All Mixed Up here on WDHA, my next guest is no stranger. I've played his music many, many times over the years. But for those of you who are not familiar with Michael Johnathon, well, to be honest with you, I don't even know how to quite describe him. He is a singer-songwriter, a producer, a painter, an author. You've written a number of books, including a children's book, written a play. You've got a movie, I believe, a script that you've done that. If I'm not mistaken, you built the log cabin that you're sitting in right now. Michael Johnathon, what have I missed?
The Woody Guthrie opera.
There you go. The opera.
I composed the Woody Guthrie opera, and I'm a huge fan of New Jersey radio on Sunday mornings as well. So
well,
it's a well-rounded existence.
And it got you a free breakfast a few weeks ago.
You know, that's true. That's true. I was doing a concert in Virginia, and I had you on my iPhone while I was having breakfast, and somebody recognized me and they came to the table, and while we were talking and they were wanting an autograph and stuff, you played cosmic banjo and mentioned my name. And so they thought I was some big rock star after that. And they gave me my breakfast for free. Well, that actually happened.
Well, congratulations. You owe me a cup of coffee.
Thank you. No one Jim Monahan can get you bacon and eggs.
Cosmic banjo, by the way, is a really, really creative piece of music. And if it's not out yet, it will be out very, very shortly. Tell our listeners about that. Where did the genesis of that come from?
Well, you know, I didn't realize who he was at the time, but I was Pete Seeger's neighbor in upstate New York, in Beacon, New York. We just thought he was a very nice guy, claimed to be a musician, but he played the banjo, which to us rock and roll teenagers in New York, unless you can plug it in, it's not a real instrument, right? So he was very nice. And then later on, I found out, oh my God, he's Pete Seeger. And so that got me on the road to folk music. And like many other people affected by Pete's career, I decided to learn the long neck banjo, which is different from the J.D. Crowe standard neck. And cosmic banjo became an adventurous tribute to Pete Seeger's style of playing, but my way. So we added a big rock band and a horn section to the long neck banjo and came up with sort of a 5-string classical gas style of instrumental.
It's not unlike what Bruce Springsteen did on the Seeger sessions, where he brought in stringed instruments traditionally associated with country and or bluegrass music and a horn section and put together. Michael, I think that Seeger session album rocks as much as just about anything Bruce has done over his career. The power of an acoustic instrument, I don't think, can be understated.
Well, no, you're right. And you're a great player yourself. I don't know if your audience realizes that you are a super fine guitar player and songwriter in your own right. So you're speaking from actual musical knowledge. And the job of an artist is not to copy somebody, but it's to reinterpret their influence as though it was your own. So I don't copy Pete Seeger, just like Bruce did not copy Pete Seeger. He reinterpreted Bruce's way, which is what an artist is supposed to do. And you're right, the Seeger sessions are a brilliant album.
Michael Johnathon's my guest this morning on the Jersey Magazine here at 105.5 WDHA. And one of the reasons I wanted to have Michael on this morning is I'm sure you're aware back in December, I believe it was on the 10th and 11th, there was a series of tornadoes that struck part of the southern United States in the Ohio Valley, touching as many as 5 states, and just the damage. Everyone has seen the pictures. The damage is just unspeakable. How far did all of that get from where you are in Kentucky, Michael?
Well, this was a tornado that stayed on the ground for 200 miles just in the state of Kentucky. And so it got very close to where I live. It got about an hour's drive away. The airport in Danville, Kentucky, which is very close to Lexington, where we live, got destroyed. Bowling Green got hammered, but Western Kentucky got slaughtered by this thing. And I'm sure a lot of New Jersey folks have seen the footage of not just Western Kentucky, but you're talking about Arkansas, Northern Tennessee, Indiana, parts of Illinois is where that Amazon plant, the whole roof got ripped off, this massive Amazon warehouse. But Kentucky got really, really hammered. I mean, bad. still bad. And you and I were talking this past weekend, there were yet more storms and more tornadoes in the same region. And Governor Bashir, who's been doing a great job handling this best he can, has declared yet another state of emergency in Kentucky.
So one of the reasons I wanted to have Michael on was to talk about this. And what I had seen was Michael a few weeks ago on his Facebook page and website had posted about a fund drive, not just in the traditional sense, but because thousands of musical instruments were lost. And Michael decided to, well, let's see if we can get people to donate instruments. You've gotten instruments from all over the country. What's the farthest place instruments have come in from, Michael?
A beautiful silver flute from Germany that was sent to us from Homer, Alaska. You're talking about, so far hundreds of instruments, but what has happened out there? I mean, you're talking about homes are gone, water systems are gone, power and electricity is gone, businesses are gone, their jobs are gone, the schools are gone. And in the midst of all that, Kentucky and Arkansas and Northern Tennessee, these are very musical areas. This is the front porch capital of America's music. And all those guitars and banjos and fiddles and mandolins and keyboards and drums, horns and flutes, they're gone. And so I can't rebuild water systems and I can't run power lines, but I can do something with a platform called Wood Songs that we created, the national broadcast of Wood Songs, and use that as a community driver to try to get these musical instruments replaced. And that's the project we're doing. Let's replace the soundtrack of America's front porch by giving for free all these wonderful musicians and front porch pickers their instruments back.
That phrase front porch, you've used that for a while now, putting a front porch around the world, which I think in these times, and you and I were speaking before we came on the air about, we appear to be so divided as a country, and especially if you look at social media, which I try to avoid as much as possible, but we seem to be so divided. And yet that idea of putting a front porch around the world where friends and neighbors sit and talk and play music from time to time it's so important.
You know, more than ever, and you're right, Jim, more than ever, America needs to be reminded of what was it that made this such a wonderful place. The noise of the negatives is so deafening and so much louder than the good and the loving and the kind part of America. And we want to focus on that part. We want to focus on the good part. And it's a wonderful thing to see people from all over the nation sending in guitars and electric guitars and mandolins and everything to the music stores that are helping us distribute these instruments around these 5 states.
Michael Johnathon.
America is a very loving nation. We don't hear it because negatives sell. Negatives sell more than the good stuff. But, you know, all across New Jersey, all across California, all across Texas are very kind, loving people from America that want our homes to be restored and to help each other.
Michael Johnathon's my guest this morning on the Jersey Magazine here at 105.5 WDHA, and we're talking about a fundraising effort to get musical instruments back into the hands of these people who lost everything, as you mentioned. Over the Christmas holiday break, Michael, I got a chance to watch 5 episodes of Ken Burns' country music series, and I hope you've seen that. It is, of course, it's so good. And it's not just a history of country music, because you see as you watch it how this encompassed everything, and the lines blur between blues and country and jazz and bluegrass, and then here comes rock and roll. I think back to Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. Were they country? Were they jazz? Were they swing? If you listen closely, you hear the earliest elements of rock and roll in there. It covered so many different things: the history of the music of this country, the history of radio in this country, race relations in this country. Everything was covered by that. And as I was watching that series, the first 5 episodes, again, in my head, all I could think of was Michael Johnathon, front porch around the world, because so much of that series, especially in the early episodes, concentrated on us sitting around with guitars and banjos and whatever, and just singing songs and handing them down from one generation to the next.
Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about vibrating air, right? Vibrating air didn't become a commodity until they figured out how to put it on a piece of plastic and then vinyl with a hole in it and starting to sell it. And when it became a sellable commodity, when we went from the front porch to the marketplace, then the record industry created something called stars. And the purpose of a star is to separate the general public far enough away from their music so that instead of becoming participants, they become customers. And what I'm saying is that the spirit of America's front porch is you in New Jersey. It's you in that wherever you're from. You know, the greatest stage in the world is your front porch, whether it's a literal front porch or your living room couch. You could be on a third floor condo in Chicago, you know, and it's still that front porch spirit. And this is what I think most of America has lost. And that series that Ken Burns did that you're talking about, Jim, is brilliant. I think Marty Stewart's comments through that whole series were spot on, because folk music is the mother of all music. It gave birth to the blues. It gave birth to country. It gave birth to jazz. Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass, was the Nirvana of his day, because he's the one who added that percussive pounding mandolin to old time music. And at the time he did that, they hated it. They thought he was terrible. But now he's globally revered as expanding this world of folk music. And that's the job of an artist. And it's the role of great radio like WDHA that gives so many of these artists in the New Jersey area a chance to be heard, because that is ultimately what that front porch music is for. It's for each other.
And, you know, we were talking about Bruce Springsteen before. You just mentioned mandolins. You take a song like Glory Days, and when it came to the instrumental break, did Springsteen use this searing guitar solo? No, he went to a mandolin in the middle of all of this rock and roll. And I've often wondered, Michael, like, whose idea was that? You know what this song needs, Bruce? The song needs a mandolin. Yeah, you're right. Let's put that right.
Well, you know, another Bruce Hornsby does the same thing. He'll pull out mandolins and mountain lap dulcimers and add them to his rock and roll piano tracks. And it's part of what you were talking about, the blurring of the lines. I'm a big believer in the adventure of music. When we do Wood Songs, which is on over 500 radio stations right now, the whole idea of it is just, are you good? It doesn't matter what genre you are, but are you passionate, and are you sincere about what you're doing? Are you trying to copy Bob Dylan, or are you being you as an original artist? And are you using your instruments in a creative way? That's all we care about. And I know all mixed up, that's what you care about. That's why it's such a beautifully diverse program on Sunday mornings.
Michael Johnathon, my guest here at 105.5 WDHA. Michael, for New Jersey listeners who want to get involved, whether it's a financial donation or an actual musical instrument, what's the best way that they can do this?
Go to woodsongs.com and click on the tornado. You'll see it right on the homepage. Woodsongs.com. We're not so much looking for financial, we're looking for instruments. That's going to shut down around January 20th, and then we're going to start distributing them around the country. So if you've got a guitar that you're not playing, if you've got a banjo or a trumpet, don't forget, all the schools in that whole 200-mile area lost all their instruments. All the band instruments are gone. You know, the tubas are gone, the trombones are gone, everything's gone. And so we want to replace all of this for free. So if you have an instrument, woodsongs.com, you'll see a list of the music stores that are helping us. They're not coming to me. They're going to bona fide music stores. And we're working with the Bluegrass Museum in Owensboro, which is right on the edge of Tornado Alley, to three of these states as the distribution point. But woodsongs.com, it'll get you all the information. And we appreciate every little bit that comes in.
And just to give you a plug as well, I know Cosmic Banjo is about to come out if it's not already, and you have not one but two more albums that you're working on for 2022.
Yeah. Well, the book Wood Songs 5 is released 1 week officially before Cosmic Banjo comes out this month. Cosmic Banjo is a celebration of the long neck banjo in all the various forms. One of the songs is the Ballad of Bojangles, which Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, founded by John McEuen, had the big Mr. Bojangles hit. Well, John McEuen is on my reinterpretation of the story, and it's on the Cosmic Banjo album. And then I thought, I want to hit it hard. And so the Afterburn album comes out around May, and it takes folk music to arena level. It's a rock band, and it's 61-piece symphony orchestra, and it's banjos and mandolins, and it's folk music. It's the front porch, but high octane front porch. And that's the Afterburn album. We stay busy out here.
apparently between building log cabins and doing albums and painting and everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
For listeners who want information on Michael's music and the projects that he's doing, it's michaeljonathon.com, and it's JOHN and THON at the end, michaeljonathon.com. And if you want to make a donation of an instrument to help with what happened through Hurricane Alley, it is woodsongs.com/tornado. Michael, thank you as always for your time. I always enjoy talking with you, and best of luck with this.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you to your listeners. And I hope they all know what a precious jewel they have with WDHA and your work in the community. I applaud it. From Kentucky, I tune in on Sunday mornings because I love it. So thank you very much.